50th anniversary of hip hop.
That's pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I thought it was older. It had such an impact
So
on culture that I thought it was
73 is that when the Sugar Hill Gang came out with Rapper's Delight? Is that what they're tracking it at?
I don't know.
I'll have to ask them.
So actually that was 73, right? Rappers
I'm
Delight.
not sure. I'll check the fucking shit.
If they did a song called Rappers Delight before they were rappers, they were fucking visionaries.
Well, I hope they're not. What was that one? Blondie? Didn't Blondie do some fucking rap song and shit? Stole a bunch of beats.
Yeah, she's still the hardest. I mean, she's pretty hard though. She was fucking gangster.
Broken glass everywhere.
It's different. It's like you sound like you're gonna kill yourself. Like don't fucking it's different, not a different kind of aggression. But it was dramatic.
Because I was checking this out, man. Yo MTV Raps came out in 88. Rapper City came out in 89. And I mean, I was already embedded way before that shit came out, but
I was on Run DMC, went jam on it, like when we were breakdancing and shit. Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Rapper's Delight came out in 1980.
Did it?
I'd like to see what what Derek's calling it to be.
He's a big hip hop head.
Yeah.
Put something like this together, you gotta be.
What's the one? So it'd be 73. Good.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a human condition.
All right.
Social media geniuses and tech geniuses and I do a little import export. I'm a mercenary on the side.
Yeah. What do you import?
I know how to talk into a mic.
What do you import export?
I import and export love.
Is that so?
It's not. I try. You know what I mean? But when somebody infringes on my ability to give love, I want to kill them. It's kind of a fucking.
Love and hate can't live in the same place, Vince. Isn't that what fucking?
And it's true. It's true. And
can't exist in the same space.
And when you're in fight or flight, or you're close to it, and you're not thinking properly, I foolishly believe that it can. You know what I mean? I think, well, no, I can get angry because they did that to integrity.
All right. Did you already send it to him?
I sent it to him.
All right. Yeah. God. I find it interesting how Facebook just automatically deletes our shit.
Yeah, it had because the other one didn't.
Right.
That's power.
They probably saw the words hip hop and was like, delete this motherfucker. Can't have this broadcast.
When we were doing the racism ones, when the word racism was in there.
Yeah. Remember the ones we did during like pandemic?
Yeah.
And you started talking about politics during even the political ones. They booted us.
Yeah.
Remember?
We broke the algorithm.
Remember do you remember that Liberty Monk episode we did?
Yeah.
We had to fucking come up with like 5 different ways to get it out there. To push, just to like get it so that people knew there was an episode. Is there someone in the room? But then we realized like you couldn't use certain political words, couldn't use the word racism. Couldn't use pandemic, vaccine, all that shit. Dude, you couldn't do none of that. They were like, if you use those words, you're not having an episode.
But you're mandated to call.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where's the fucking stay out of it? How about government? Big government, you stay out of fucking everything that's human. You fuck it up.
All right. Where would he be in the room? Is he in the room?
Where in the world is Derek Denham? Are you producing something, Derek? Where you at? How you been?
I'm doing great. I was at a hockey game earlier. My nephew scored his first goal in Michigan. I did not get to see it, but
there he is.
Boom. It was a good time. Got him.
Down there in the green room.
Yep.
EG founder of nice. That's awesome.
Founder of creativity.
Founder of creativity.
Add to stream.
I was wondering who found that shit. You found it?
What's up?
Turn up the volume.
Can you hear us?
Volume.
Let me see.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Where's my snip?
Can you guys hear me?
Let's see here.
You guys hear me?
Is it going someplace else?
No.
No?
Yeah, you mother.
If not, I'll go on my phone.
The switchboard. So we should be here now. Should be here now. We should be good. Can you hear us?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. So check.
Yes, sir.
There he
Boom,
is.
there he is.
How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, man. Grinding, man. Grinding.
Yeah, I see. That's
It's the Detroit way.
it's impressive. That event's impressive. That's a nice lineup. That's for anybody who you don't even have to be a true hip hop head to not feel that nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like that's like everybody. We're Salt and Pepper. You're 90s.
Hey, look, salt and pepper. The budget wouldn't allow for salt and pepper, unfortunately.
No shit.
No, I mean, you got to look. Honestly, we really look. We're looking at 5 acts, and some different things happen with Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. They kind of both work together, and they like to perform together. And when we were booking the show, quite honestly, we didn't think Doug was going to be available, so we booked Big Daddy Kane instead. And right thereafter, Doug's agent called and said, "Hey guys, why is he not on this Detroit show?" So, needless to say, we worked some things out, spent more money, and here we are. So, we've got a great lineup, guys. I would beg to say that this is probably in Detroit as far as classic hip hop. I don't think there's been this many iconic hip hop artists in that genre or in that demographic on one stage at one time.
I've never seen it. I saw it for the 90s. I was at that show with I think it was DMX there. Do you remember that? They had the 90s one like 5-6 years ago.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah.
It was dope. It was nice. It was really nice. It was outside. It
Who was
at,
it?
DTE. But it was 90s. And then they had Snoop.
Then they have Lil Jon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm talking about, because you got to keep in mind there's eras of hip hop.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
right.
When you think of, obviously, we go back to 1973. You know, we're going back to Melly Mel and Africa Bambaataa and all those guys. But Rakim, KRS-One, they're still looked at it maybe as like forefathers of hip hop. When you think of
Yeah,
Lil
we were
Jon,
talking about that.
say that again.
We were talking about that because I was like trying to track. I was like 73. We were trying to come up with the tracks that were like on the scene because I was like, man, when did Rapper's Delight come out? You know,
It was around. It was a little bit later than that. It was a little bit later than that. And I'll tell you guys a funny story. My dad lived in the Bronx, and I actually lived in the Bronx for a while. And then when I used to go back to visit my father in the early 80s, he lived in the projects in the Bronx. And my half sister, she was like, "Hey, they about to have a jam outside." I'm like, "What the hell is a jam?" So in the projects, just imagine all these projects, and everybody brings their speakers and turntables out to the court, you know, right in the middle of the projects. And it wasn't nothing to see the Fat Boys or somebody like that, but they wasn't famous at the time. But they were just walking around and on turntables and just, so it's kind of, now life has come full circle. And I'm like, wow, I mean, I was kind of around, right, you know, in the infant stages of hip hop. So it kind of blew me away when I thought about it like that. And then years later, I was talking to my dad and I was like, man, I didn't, you know, at the time, obviously no one realized these guys were going to be that famous, and I don't think anyone thought hip hop would be what it is today. You know, when you think of, it's probably not too much. You can't, every time you turn the TV on, there's almost something that you're going to see with hip hop within the next, on a commercial or a TV show, or I don't think anybody really thought, 50 years ago would be where it is today.
I think if they did think it, it wouldn't be where it is today. You know what I mean? It was that the need to create, in that space is, I think, what did it for hip hop, because it was raw and honest, and that's what people gravitate towards, whether they like it or not. Even if you're bashing the shit and saying NWA is this and that, you're still
right.
paying attention.
But see that's the thing, Vincent. Your mic is a little bit low. I'm sorry, I can't hardly hear you.
Check.
That's perfect.
All right.
But people get misconstrued from rap to hip hop. There's a difference. So, you think of NWA, you think of what's another group?
I know they call them gangster rappers, but
just a lot of the stuff you hear now, that's not hip hop. Hip hop was more pure. Hip hop told stories. Hip hop was about coming up. Now, when you think of rap, I mean, you're talking about, shooting somebody, murdering somebody. That's not what hip hop was all about. And I think, that's what this generation is missing in this whole thing. They want to say, hey, we're hip hop. But when you think of the Mingos, that's not hip hop. That's rap.
That's not. I don't even know if that's rap.
Higher level consciousness.
Exactly.
Like Gangstar was one of my favorites.
There you go.
When I first heard him, it was different. My first hip hop album, like I got Yo Bum Rush the Show probably like 6 months after it came out, and I got it from a friend, and I was like, man, I had never heard anything like this, and then that Beastie Boys was starting to come around and stuff,
right.
But like once I heard Yo Bum Rush the Show, that set me off. And then the Colors soundtrack, my stepbrother was like, man,
wow.
You need to check this out.
Yeah, I stole that shit.
And because like when the Colors soundtrack came out, I was just like, it was all over. It was all done. Like,
it changed the way I look at music as well. That was kind of honestly the introduction for me too, a little bit. We think of Colors and even the movie and seeing the guys in prison put up gang signs. And, I think as a kid, that kind of, it blew me away. And now, again, coming full circle, being part of this big show and bringing all these guys together. And honestly, I've got to, really give credit to one of my partners. His name is Derek Kearney. And Derek is a Detroit basketball legend. Derek played with Karl Malone down at Louisiana Tech years ago. And Derek is a hip hop head, man, true hip hop head, and him and Rakim are good friends. And actually, he brought Rakim with JJ Fad, KRS-One, and a few others to the Russell Bazaar last year. And I've actually met Rakim one other time. I was working with a kid named Braylon Edwards, and Braylon was the third pick in the draft a few years back, and Rakim performed at one of his draft parties. So again, I give credit to Derek, because Derek said, hey, it's 50 years of hip hop. We need to get in on a show, promote a show. And I never thought that it would be of this magnitude. And here's the thing that I do want to say to you guys. It's just not the concert that we're doing. We're doing a whole hip hop weekend. So this is more so an event. It's not just a show. What we're doing, we teamed up with the Charles H. Wright Museum in Detroit.
Okay. And
what we're going to be doing June 15th, we're going to have this esteemed panel of hip hop heads. It's a lot of celebrity people. Vince actually is going to be on the panel. And what we're going to be doing there is going to be live stream with an audience. And that panel is going to be there to discuss who are the 50 top contributors to hip hop in Detroit. So we're talking about, and I can just throw some names out. You're talking about ICP. You're talking about Eshawn. You're talking about Royce the 5'9", Eminem, Awesome Dre, Miss Corona. I mean, I could go down the line. And what this panel is going to attempt to do, is come up with those 50 names, not just rappers, but also maybe venues, When you think about the hip hop shop, Maurice Malone, that's where Proof used to go. A lot of rappers used to come through there before people even knew who they were.
Where was that place in Hamtramck we used to go? I was down there with Proof one night, and Miss Corona was on there, and it was right Hamtramck, right off Joseph Compound. So, but you go in there tiny, everybody just sweat and spit fucking. It was
if you say the name, I probably would know it, but
it wasn't Maryland. I know Maryland's on Monroe was one, but the one that we were at in Hamtramck, that was it's one I remember because I Miss Corona got up there and smoked everybody. I was like,
well, she's a legend, man. And actually, so what's going to happen, guys? Once we get that 50 people or venues or media personalities, we're going to do a tribute. We call it the Hip Hop 50 Honors. And that's going to be the first part of the show of the concert. So you're going to have a lot of the legendary artists that came out of Detroit. We're going to recognize them at this concert. And, you know, you're going to see their names on the video wall. We're going to let some of them perform, you know, like more like a medley. I don't know if you guys seen the 50th anniversary hip hop dedication on the Grammys, but something like where, you know, everybody may get a couple verses and then we move on to the next person. Yeah, that type of deal. So, and then in addition to that, guys, we also have Mr. Kern Brantley. Kern is going to be, we have a live band. So the band is going to play in addition to the DJs. And Kern Brantley, who's going to be directing that, Kern has been the musical director for, I'll give you a couple of names. You know, nobody important. Beyonce, Mary J. Blige.
are they still doing music?
Usher.
I thought they retired.
Yeah, you know, there's people like that. Lady Gaga. He just came back from China with a guy named Jeremy Lin. He's probably the world's #1 artist. So Kern is going to be directing this whole show. And we thought it would be neat, with it being the 50 years of hip hop anniversary, to do something a little different than a normal hip hop show, so to speak.
Right. I think it's cool that you create the distinction because when I think about it, there was a difference in my behavior because you know, this was hip hop music, not hip hop, but hip hop too, but gangster rap. My behavior changed. You know what I mean? Because
no
I
doubt.
was embarrassed to be poor. I was dirt poor, and I just moved from Detroit into the burbs, and I'm over there. I'm with a bunch of white poor. I was the poorest, and I'm not supposed to be poor for some reason. Now, motherfucker, I have to fight all the time. And it was EPMD, Eazy-E, NWA. Those 3 cassettes. My boy came back from Oakland, moved back into, and I was changed. Like after that, it was like, oh, I can brag about being poor, and then I can do this kind of shit right here and not be poor. So it became like a father figure. It filled in gaps for me. But back in the day, I was breakdancing. You know what I mean? Me and my cousin and my brother, 3 white kids, we'd be down at 7-Eleven down on 7th and Mac, and we'd have the cardboard out there, and we'd our mesh tank tops, jam on it and shit. So it was a different vibe. Like the whole hip hop thing was a different vibe.
Well,
Bust
think
out
about
a few moves for us at the concert.
Yeah, I ain't trying to win.
On the panel, I'll bring the cardboard.
Right. But think about this, Vince. When we were doing the movie Corrupted Minds,
yep,
that was, believe it or not, that's when M was starting to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
Because you remember Walter Harris.
Yep.
Walter used to hang out with Royce and M and all. And I remember we would be at rehearsal, and Walter would say, "Yeah, I'm going to see M a little later." I'm like, who the hell is M? Who is he talking about?
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, again, fast forward to today. Now Eminem is probably, you know, one of the greatest rappers of all time. So,
what did you think the first time you saw M?
Say that again.
What did you think of M the first time you saw him?
The first time I saw M, I said, "Who is this white boy?" Being honest, but can out rap most black rappers. Being totally honest with you, I mean, because he doesn't look like, you know, he just looks like a regular dude, man, and you can really feel his passion in his music, and he's respected, man. I mean, and you guys know this, man. When you talk about entertainment and you talk about a genre that is generally dominated by African Americans. It's hard. It would be, you know, let's flip it around like it's a guy, a black country, young guy, black country singer. That's a prevalent, you know, a white industry with country music. Well, here he comes, and he's a black guy that you really don't think of. I mean, the only other black guy I can think of in country music is Charlie Pride. So I'm saying, anytime when you're of a different persuasion, so to speak, and you're trying to break into a industry dominated by a different culture, you're going to be critiqued, man. You're going to be critiqued. You're going to be challenged. I mean, because he was a good friend, obviously, with Proof. Yep. And Proof has even said this, that M would skip and come to Proof's school. And they would try to challenge Proof in the lunchroom at a rap battle and Proof would say, no, you got to beat this white boy first. So, and obviously nobody can beat him. So that's the beauty of, I think, hip hop, because it bridges a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people. It bridges the gap, man. And it brings people, music brings people together. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like sports. If we go play pickup basketball, I'm not thinking if, hey, Vince is white, I'm black, I'm thinking who can ball? Because we want to stay on the court. So that's the whole thing about, I think, with hip hop.
Like picking the white guy first.
Hey, if he can ball, if he can ball, who cares? You want to win. So, I mean, hey, white chocolate, man. Hey, I think a lot of people would have picked white chocolate back in the day to be on their team.
What do you think about that?
It doesn't matter what color you are. If you can rap and you can bring it, that's what people in the hip hop community, that's what they respect. Can you bring it? And he brings it. You know what I mean? And I think another thing that's made Eminem acceptable, he's poked fun at himself. He said he's the white hip hop Elvis. You know what I mean? So he's honest. He's very talented. And again, I mean, I can't think of another white rapper that's respected like Eminem.
It's hard. He's one of those rare breeds, man. He just he buried himself in that craft as a way to escape the world he didn't like being surrounded by. And and you know he's on the spectrum, right?
Vince, I'm sorry, your mic is like it's still.
If you can hear me? Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you when you hold it close, but it's.
Where's my snare?
It's a short end of your mic, unfortunately.
Yeah, I got a bit.
Why
I
don't
got
you
to spit on this mic.
You can just switch it up, see if that works.
Yeah, let's try
on
that.
To Derek's mic.
There you go.
Better.
Perfect.
All right.
So there's two ways you can hustle out of bad circumstances, right? There's you can retreat into your creativity, and that's what Eminem did, and he stayed there, and you know it paid off. And then there you can hustle your way out, and that creates a different kind of facade. I think his is more pure, you know what I mean, and that's what I like about him, because I grew up almost the same way, you know what I mean, it's very similar, but there was a part of me that said, well, I can beat this by myself. You know what I mean? I can hustle. I can go out and do some other shit. But he didn't have that influence telling him that he could do anything. And he stumbled into this, and I don't think he was good right off the rip. He just,
he worked on it. Yeah. He worked on his craft, and you see where he's, like you said, from where he started to where he is now, you know, and that's like anybody. I don't think anybody, you know, starts where they're gonna, you know, where they currently are, so to speak. It takes, I don't care, again, if I'm a sports guy, so, you know, Michael Jordan didn't start by being Michael Jordan. He had to work at his craft. Hell, he got cut his 9th and 10th grade year of basketball. People don't realize that. It took him to get to his 11th grade year to make the varsity basketball team. So all these things are parallels, man. To be the best at anything you do, you've got to work on it. And so whether you're talking about Eminem, if you're talking about, obviously, I'll go back to Rakim. You know, Rakim, and people don't know this, he came from a family of jazz artists. See?
Oh, I can see that. I didn't know that, but I can see that.
Correct. And most of his his music is inspired by the John Coltrane's and different people like that. And again, people don't know what they don't know unless they do the research. You know, a lot of people just think, oh man, these guys just wake up and they write raps and then, but it's more to it than that. As we
he's rhythmic as fuck. You know what I mean?
I'm just gonna write some songs and then I'm just gonna get rich.
Exactly, and it doesn't. Now, you know, people like me being an old head, probably, you know, people consider me an old head now. So when I talk to the younger generation, I'm talking about Glorilla and, you know, Migos and people like that. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's a different time. It's their music.
They're expressing whatever they're expressing.
Say again?
They're expressing whatever they're expressing.
They're expressing, but you know, even the production of the music, you know, most of the people are using machines and you know, just different things to enhance, you know, Little Baby to enhance their voices. And again, I didn't grow up on that. You know what I mean? The closest thing we had to that is Roger Troutman with More Bounce. You know what I mean? So it's a different day, man, and it's not a knock on anybody.
You can have a chatbot write your song on the spot. A chatbot can write your
exactly.
Song. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Can a chatbot scratch your records?
I scratch it.
Hey, don't doubt it, man. Don't doubt it. I mean, this thing with AI and can recreate anybody, and I mean, we're going in a whole different realm, man. So I think honestly, what we have to do, we have to appreciate these guys like the KRS-Ones and you know, Dougie Freshes and Slick Ricks and people like that, man, because the challenge that we found with this show, gentlemen, is that it's such a small demographic. You know, you think about Rakim, most people that are true Rakim fans are like 50 years old. You know what I mean? So you're looking at the age from like 45 to 55 is the demographic for our show. You know what I mean? So a lot of these young kids, they don't know who you know, they've heard the name, but they don't know who Rakim is. You know, they don't know who KRS-One is.
And that's
you know, they don't know who Big Daddy Kane is. But if you would do a poll of people my age, probably your age, Vince, they're gonna, at the end of the day, if you take a poll of 100 people, most of these artists that we have in our show, they're probably gonna be in their top 50.
Rocking, yeah, all of them.
Oh yeah,
I'd say all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's the beauty, I think, of again what we're trying to show, that we're trying to put together, because and as you get older, people are starting to die out, unfortunately, man. I mean, how much longer? You know, I don't know how much longer Rakim is going to do his thing, because again, he's getting older. All these guys are getting older, and we just got to appreciate these icons while we can, so to speak.
And pull education, bro. I like what you're doing with the podcast thing, because it's that's where the young generation can dig into that. Like if you're a young cat out there and you're trying to come up, and there's nobody who sounds like Rakim right now.
Nobody.
But if you could adopt some of that sound and be like, oh shit, I never even thought about that. You know what I mean? Like when you hear Eminem, when you hear lyricists talk, and they talk about how they're arranging their words and shit. Like I heard this podcast with it was Crooked Eye, King Crooked, and Eminem, and they were breaking down their lyrics, and I was like, oh, I didn't even catch that shit. That was like the wordplay and shit. When you get
wordplay, metaphors, right?
That's where all the we're Rogan's a genius. You know what I mean? But when you get hip hop people in there, you start to realize there's a craft. Like
no
shit
doubt.
that just got thrown together and fucking they were out. You know what I mean? Like there's work that goes into that. And
no doubt. And to be able to think about this, if you're Rakim, or just say even a Jay-Z, and you're performing, you're talking about rap. They say Jay-Z doesn't even write down his raps when he performs. I mean, when he's in the studio, he goes off the top of his head. You know, so to remember, you know, I'm not a rapper or a singer, but I gotta believe singing a song compared to Twister, you know, rapping, I gotta believe that's a little bit more easier than than what Twister does. You know what I mean? So you got to be talented. You got to be intelligent. When you think about the metaphors, like you said, the wordplay, it's not just, some stupid guys rapping or some stupid females rapping. It takes talent, and it takes an imagination, so to speak.
Yeah, man.
And probably a lot of practice. Probably
A lot of
ton
practice. A lot of practice. And again, as you guys both know, the general public, all they see is the finished product. They see the performance. They hear the DVD or CD or streaming now. That's what they hear, but they don't see the work behind the scenes that people put into this. Again, talking to Derek, he talks to Rakim. Rakim is probably practicing right now. My buddy Kern Brantley, the musician, he's getting his band together. He's playing in his house right now, getting ready for the show. He has to learn all this music. Kern is more of a R&B bass, a bass player, funk player, so to speak. So for him to go now and study Rakim's music and KRS-One, that takes work. That just doesn't happen. That takes work. And people, you have to, in any profession, hey, if you're going to be an expert podcaster, there's work that goes into that. People see these Up in Smoke podcasts and Drink Champs. Those guys prep for that. They don't just, they study who their guests are going to be. They're going to be knowledgeable about whatever topics they're talking about. It takes anything to be great at. It takes work. And that's what I don't think people on the outside, or the layman, so to speak, I don't think they really have appreciation for the work that goes into music and sports and entertainment. It's just, again, they just think, hey, you roll out of bed and we're here. Doesn't work that way.
Isn't it? Like, if you can minimize that type of talent, you don't feel so bad about you. If you're not a hustler, right? Like, if you don't have that in you, then it's kind of like with acting, right? There's no barrier to entry. Anybody can call themselves and move to LA, call yourself an actor. You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard. You can do that. You can create a resume.
Correct.
We know it takes work. You know what I mean? Like, it takes work to get
you can fake it till you can make it, but I always tell people sometimes it's who you know to get there, but it's what you know to stay there. You know what I mean? Because it generally, at some point, if you don't know what you profess to know, you're going to get exposed at some point. Right. You know what I mean?
And get washed out.
I don't see Mike Jones coming back for much,
Mike Jones, no. But even with that, you don't know the work that probably went into.
I don't.
Because the persona. Think of DMX. Think about him. You know what I mean? Yeah. DMX was a drug addict, blah, 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 blah. Hey, when he got discovered, he was living in New York in a crack house with no windows. And somebody seen something enough in him to say, you know what? Man, this guy can bring it. Yeah. And he's probably, again, is another guy that's probably one of the greatest rappers of all time. So
that's that raw shit.
You know what? They Jay-Z said it. I was looking at something on TV, and Jay-Z said, him and X was in a concert, and X came on before him, and he said, he's getting ready, whatever. He said, shit, man, you hear these guys going crazy over here? He's like, I gotta go out here after this guy.
Right.
He's out
there.
You know
what I mean? So again, what did X end up going to do? Became a rapper. I mean, an actor, Vince. He went into acting. You know what I mean? So again, man, it's. I marvel at the talent, man. I marvel at the discipline because they give a lot of these rappers. They give the persona of all they do is smoke weed all day. They may go. You may think they're gonna stick somebody up, but half of that stuff is a persona. They talked about Ice Cube. Ice Cube gives off this tough guy persona, but from what I hear and the people I know, Ice Cube didn't even live that lifestyle.
No, he's a storyteller. That's what he was great. He was a great writer.
Funny you bring him up. I was listening to Predator today.
Sure.
And I hadn't heard that album probably like 15, 16 years. And I don't know, it's just a different, that when you go back and forth between Cube and let's say Gangstar, the vibration and the frequency is different.
No doubt.
And but they're both highly talented. But it was always interesting, like even like the Cypress Hill, all the beef, you get entangled in a lot of the beef show with rappers too, and I saw something on Instagram. I can't remember who said it, but they were saying, like, didn't you find it interesting how there was a whole group of higher consciousness rappers all at a certain time, and then just like that, you hit the switch and it went all the gangster rap, and then all the higher consciousness stuff went underneath the rug, because
trends,
not just that, but like the government don't want higher consciousness thinking going on in the hood. They want just glamorize the gangster shit and all that, and then sweep all that higher consciousness. We can't have that going on. We can't have that.
You can't have a positive rap.
Right. Can't have no positive rap.
Correct.
man.
Correct. Because it's control. It's when you talk about, like, to your point, record labels, they're telling these artists, well, you need to do this. No, you don't need to rap about this. You need to rap about that. You know what I mean?
Public Enemy said, "Fuck all that."
I mean, but
they get through the cracks.
And think about it. Most of your labels are owned by who? They're not owned by black guys.
No, Jewish for the most part.
I'm just being honest. I mean, Diddy has a label, but when we talk about the top guys, they're not black guys.
No.
So you it's like anything, man. When you talk about drugs coming into the cities, black folks are not the ones bringing it in. They're selling it. They're not shipping it in.
Right.
So again, it's the perception. Everything has a perception to it, and
you see that Pac documentary?
I did not see that yet.
Man,
that's on my list to do, but I have not seen that yet.
That shit had me crying. Like, because I relate a lot to him because we similar growing up. But you know what I realized? I'm fighting a lot of the same battle he was. I'm not a black man, but I got to live longer. I get to go into the courtroom, say fuck you. I get to do that and not be punished the way he didn't go to prison until he was famous. Like, I didn't. He knew he was gonna die. He knew it. He's like, I'm not shutting the fuck up. He's like, I gotta say my shit, and I'm gonna say my shit. But
he was 23.
25.
Was it okay? 25. Yeah, he was 25 when he died.
At 24, he was 23 years old. He had a staff of 40 people behind him, and he was just throwing it all out there because he knew I'm gone, and I'm gonna put. He did 400 songs in that like 2-3 year span of time. Like that, he was a fucking beast, and he knew what he was here for, and he delivered. That's why he's, like, in my opinion, one of the. But he defined for me a lot of things. Like that man right there was. He said, "I don't know if I'm going to be the one who changes the world, but I promise you, I sparked the mind that does." And I know he sparked mine, and I know I carry that philosophy into. I try to affect people just by being real, being honest. And I realized I was crying through this documentary because I'm going through my own struggles with the court battles. I get to be a whole different person. You know what I mean? Like there's shit that I say and I get away with that it would just be so different for me if I was a black man. It's way different.
Yeah,
I'd probably be dead, honestly, or in prison.
Yeah, and I think bringing up his age is so important because if I look at myself when I was 25, oh my God, are you kidding me? I mean, this guy was so mature beyond his years. I mean, and part of that, I'm sure you've seen in the documentary with his mother being a Black Panther, right. The way he was raised and educated. But on the flip side of Tupac, I always looked at him as a contradiction, because
he was,
what I mean? On one piece, he's dear mama and, Brenda's having a baby. Then on the other thing is, who shot you. You know what I mean? So it's like he's such a contradiction. It would have been really interesting to talk to him to get to know him. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how much of that was really, a persona. Because most people that I know that knew him, they say he was like the sweetest guy. He would do anything for anybody. But we see that bravado on camera when he's all hyped up and he's fuck bad boy and blah blah blah. So again, we buy into that stuff, but behind the scenes, people really said how sweet of a person he was.
Well, and imagine if he got to be in his 30s, 40s, how he would have evolved. Like, when I was 25, I just did it. Like, I'm going to I'm Mr. Spirituality. I know better than to get caught in my limbic system down in the admit. I know better. Correct. And I'm still huffing and puffing, wanting to kill these mothers. They're saying this craziest shit. And I'm Correct. Like, from that to that, because they betrayed me, right? Like, so I can understand, like, when the betrayal's that deep and you wear your heart on your sleeve, you can lash out. And especially as a 25-year-old, I get it. I don't like it. Like, I'm like, man, why'd you have to stomp that dude out at the fucking fight that night? What the fuck, man? You know what I mean? Like, but that was his thing. You know what I mean? And he delivered in a way. I can't say that there's contributors, big contributors, and longevity is important too. But to come in like that and deliver, and man, he's influenced everybody. I mean, whether
whether you liked him or hated him, I mean, you had to respect his craft and what he brought to the table. I remember when he got killed, and I remember like yesterday, my nephew, he said, he said, Tupac can't be dead. He can't be dead. It's almost like like he's a superhero, and it's so sad because, kids again, they look at they don't look at the human element of these people. They look at them like, like almost like superheroes, or they're not human, and they bleed like you and I do, obviously, right. So it's, and again, being in the entertainment world, I've seen it on all sides, because even in the little stuff that I've done over the years, and the reaction of people, and Vince, you do it because you love it, the craft.
Yeah. And
people, but they are enamored with when they're enamored with your work, it's like you can just see the reaction, man.
Yeah.
I've seen when kids came up and asked, being in the play, and hey, can I have your autograph? I'm like, this kid asked my autograph. Like, for what? The hell? So, and it's the same way, like with go back to Rakim. People don't understand, man. He's performing. He enjoys what he does. But Rakim is the most introverted person. He doesn't like to do a lot of interviews. He likes his family life. He's on his property. He's on his lawnmower cutting his 10 acres. People don't even envision that. You know what I mean? They just think this guy's on the microphone all day in the basement. And he's working on his craft. But I'm saying, when he wants to kick back like we want to kick back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he wants to do. He's the type of guy. He wants to do things. He don't want you to push him. Right. For example, we're waiting on the drop right now from Rakim, and his manager's like, "Hey guys, hey man, he's gonna do it when he's ready to do it. He's gonna do it when he's ready to do it. So hey, he'll come on live to do a radio, thing with somebody, even though he doesn't care to do it. But he'll rather do that than to take the time to do a damn drop. So it's like, we're like, what is the issue?
I can relate. I relate to that though. Like I'm more that way. Like I don't want to write a fucking tagline and shit. Like I'll go do a 3-hour podcast. Fuck your tagline. You know what I mean? I relate.
Right.
But it's one of those things you don't understand. And like, you look at a guy like LL Cool J. LL has, this guy's in top TV shows. He's ran the gamut as far as success. And then you look at somebody like Rakim. Rakim is more of a true artist to the, you know what I'm trying to say, to the craft.
Yep.
He doesn't care about the, believe it or not, the limelight. If he doesn't, he's not inspired or motivated about money. He's at the point where he just wants to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. He doesn't care about, you know, doing guest appearances in movies or like DMX. I mean, because if he did, imagine where he would be right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With his talent, imagine with the you know, I've heard different stories, and I can't disclose everything, but you know, I've heard stories where it was a particular R&B artist, and she whispered in his ear like, "Hey, we should run away and go to Europe." You know what I mean? And not knowing that this guy's a family man. You know, we should just run away and go to Europe. You know what I mean? And she was, you know, put it this way, she's probably at one point she was the top R&B singer in the world. And
was Whitney on the crack again? No,
say that again?
Was Whitney on the crack again?
No, it wasn't Whitney, I'll tell you that. But, you know, it's just, again, these guys, man, once they do their shows, they want to go back to their rooms, they want to relax, they're not worried about going to hang out. They just, most of these guys in their 50s, they got kids, they got wives, they want to make their money, man, and support their families. But
well,
again, in the hip hop world, you know, you when you show that side of you, it's almost like a sign of weakness, which is weird. You know, think about when Jay-Z was, you know, he's at the top of his game, but I guarantee you he's lost a little bit of street cred since he's married Beyonce. He ain't talking about sleeping around with different women now and this, that, and the other. You know, he did get caught cheating.
He did.
I'm just saying, you know, the streets, when we talk about the streets, we talking about the public that buys the music and they still want to be gangsters and they expect their artists to still be gangsters too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you can't show no vulnerability.
Exactly.
You know, like that kills the persona.
See,
Exactly.
I like when they kill the persona. Like, I think that's your job as an artist, is to just be you, whoever you are. Like Pac, he couldn't help it. He was just him wherever he was. And Kendrick Lamar, like whatever he is, whenever he's that's, you know, you're getting the truth delivered in that moment.
But that's the danger of it, though, because you just said is living to that persona, or what was the word you just used?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. You still got something to prove. You know what I mean? As a rapper, LL went through it. There was a time where LL wasn't selling any new music. He just talked about that. It's when you get to a certain age, man. You know, the younger people, they're looking at you like an old head. So what value do you have? So you got to try to. LL got caught up trying to get, you know. LL was never like he didn't use a lot of profanity in his music when he first started.
But it'll knock your mama out.
Well, you know what I mean? But
no,
that's
he
still,
he was
you know what I mean? But now, I mean, at a certain point, he was starting to question himself and trying to reinvent himself to be try to be hard. Yeah. Rakim signed with Death Row.
Did he really?
At one point. And they were telling him, hey man, you need to, you know, do this gangster rap and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, again, because his career kind of fell off, he's trying to reinvent himself. He's listening to these guys. And then I don't know everything that happened, but he decided against it. He decided against it. And he said, you know what, I'm stay true to myself. And I respect him for that, because that's what a lot of people do. They lose kind of touch of themselves, and they trying to prove that they're still relevant and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? People are always going to like Rakim's music. Yeah, it may be a 16-year-old that's like, who the hell is that? But there's always going to people like me or like you. We're gonna have that appreciation for him. And I respect people to say, you know what? I'm not going to conform to what people want me to be. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's what a true artist is. Yeah, I mean, because if you're always trying to prove outwardly who you are, I mean, there's a flaw. That means you don't know who you are, or there's something there that's not letting you truly be who you are, because you keep trying to prove it to these motherfuckers. How big do you have to get? Eminem's one of the most insecure rappers out there, and he's one of the best. And he doesn't even, sometimes you wonder, like, do you even know how he knows? He says it, but it's different to have a logical thought and to have it processed and be in your subconscious. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And Daniel Day-Lewis on the other end of Rakim. Motherfucker goes back and makes shoes in Ireland. That's what he does. He wins his Oscar and he gets the fuck out. Goes make shoes.
See,
I love
real
that.
people, man. He's talented, you know, at what he does, but that's not who he is.
Not who he is.
No.
I don't have to be this. I'm just gonna do that.
You know, the entertainment game's got to be hard. You know, at the end of the day, you know, there's got to be a lot of bullshit, and you know, it does come down to, you know, it does come down to not conforming to what, you know, the higher ups want. You know, I have to stay true to myself, and I know that that's like a rare thing, because like you're programmed probably as soon as you get into the entertainment industry to like, well, you want to make sure you're doing what gets the people to the yard, you know, over and over and over. Oh,
milkshakes.
Yeah. Well, don't do that. That might, you know,
might taint your image.
You're like guided. And then all of a sudden it's like, this is no longer my authentic self. And your soul will always tell you, this is not your authentic self.
That's it.
This isn't going to go good for you.
That's
You
right.
can put the mask on all you want, but at some point, that mask has to come off. No one gets to run with it until the day they die.
Well,
No doubt about it. And I think people that really, the real true fans, I think they appreciate it more when you do keep it so close to who you are, as opposed to trying to be something else that a label wants you to be. I think real fans, they respect you more. Again, trying to get new fans, that's a whole different story. But Rakim doesn't need a new fan. He doesn't need a new fan. He's got a fan base, man. And I mean, doing this show, man, promoting this show, I've seen the reaction of fans all over the world. I mean, just going to different fan pages and people asking, man, are you guys gonna bring this show here? Are you gonna bring this show there? And you know, he just had to cancel a portion of his European tour. You know, again, here's a guy from New York, man, in the hood. You know what I mean? He can go over to Finland and Switzerland and Iceland, and these people know his lyrics, man. He doesn't need any new fans.
You can't ask for more than that.
I you know, if I could give these guys any advice, man, stay true to to yourself first, and
unless
then
they offer you a lot of money. No, I'm kidding.
Say that again.
Unless they offer you a lot of money, then don't.
Well, like I told you, he's not motivated by money.
And that's a beautiful thing. I'm not.
He's not motivated by money, man. Right now, Vince, you could call him and say, you know what? Hey, I see this particular show is now in Chicago. You want, because another thing people don't know, they don't fly. Him and KRS-One don't fly.
No shit.
No shit. They drive. So what's going to happen when he goes to Europe? How you going to get there? Boat.
They're going to have to drive. No.
You got a boat. You can't drive to Europe. You got to catch a boat. So, you know, again, people just don't know what they don't know, man. So now he's got to, when he's planning, you know, logistically how he's going to get from point A to point B, he's got to account for the drive time or on a boat time or, you know, so he's like, shit, okay, how much money you paying me? But man, it's going to take me 5 days to get to Europe. Hey, I'm chilling. You know, he's not motivated by money, man.
Let KRS-One and Rakim know. Me and Sean will go pick him up, and then we'll do a podcast on the drive back. KRS-One, he drops knowledge like that. That guy.
Yeah, we'll drive him to Chicago.
We'll drive wherever the fuck.
So you driving there? Okay, okay.
Seriously, that'd be a badass podcast.
Yeah,
like to have 4 hours of just KRS and
load up the Suburban and let's go.
Yeah. Hey man, and he's another one, man. That's he's going to be true to himself. You know what I mean? He's not trying to be something else. He's not trying to be, what someone else wants him to be. He's going to be him. He's going to speak the truth. He's and he's about shedding the light, like you, Vince. He's all about exposing certain things, and whether it's in his community or whether it's a politician or Black empowerment, lifting people up.
Illuminate that space you occupy while you got the miracle of life to occupy it. That's
exactly. And see, unfortunately, for a lot of people, when they start doing that, man, they draw a lot of attention to themselves negatively, and you have to be careful, man. When you start talking about certain consciousness and
I'm going through it,
exposing people for some of the the evils of the world, you got to be really careful, man. Whether you're white, Black, Indian, whatever you are, you got to be really careful of that, because there's a segment of the population that they don't want that to be exposed, and they will try to silence you, as we know.
Man, I built this company, the shit I'm going through right now, in an instant. Not everyone, but a lot of the people turned.
Oh yeah,
knows who built that company. Everyone knows why they have income, and it's not. It there's a fear mechanism that says, well, if I say that, this might go away. So and the people are quick to turn. Like it's crazy. Like I one of the parts I cried on in Pac's documentary, he's like, he just stops in the interview. He's like, man, my people shot me. He's like, they shot me, man. Like, he was so hurt by that because he was Black Panther and all about empowerment. That's everything he did was for the hood.
Correct.
And he just glitched, and he said, they shot me. And that's when he went over to death row. They started looking for some different kind of protection mechanism, right? And Suge showed him what he needed in the time, and there was a conflict. There was a conflict to Pac, and he died. But,
I just with Pac, with that whole death row thing, man. When I first was privy to it, I was like, I didn't think that would be a good move for him. Financially, I get it. He threw some money at him, blah blah blah. We know Pac. He came off as unlike a Rakim, he was more impressionable. It seemed like to me.
Very.
But I think Suge really used him, obviously, to blow that label up. But I just, in retrospect, man, I think he would probably still be here if he never went that route.
I mean, you remember when All Eyes on Me dropped, don't you? That was a hot fucking album.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Double CD.
But understand, man, these rappers are more valuable dead.
Right.
People don't understand that.
Like, this is how fucking ahead of his time he was. Pac's first single, you remember it? Brenda's Got a Baby. They were like, you can't do this shit. He's like, no, he stuck to his guns. He said, no, this is my shit. This is what I'm doing.
No doubt.
And it was that took more courage than anything else he did, because after that it was you could tell the conflict. Like, people turn against him. Now it's, I fucked your wife, and that's where I think hip hop got separated from rap. Like, really, was that Biggie Pac thing? Like, that was a stain.
It was a stain.
And it separated a lot of people.
It was a stain, and I, like you said, that's not hip hop. That's not what hip hop was about.
Hip hop's about the battle.
That's gangster rap. That's rap. That's what Dre and NWA, what they brought to the table, and Cube and all those guys. That's not. And let's call it, like I said, you go back to Dre. People don't even know this. World Class Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He had the silky shirts on and the Jerry curls, and you is people don't understand. It's an act, man. It's an act. Now Eazy-E probably was, from the streets for real. He
was for real.
You know what I mean? But Dre and Cube and all those guys, man, all that shit was a persona, man. These guys were trying. They were smart enough to know what sold. They they knew that stuff sells, and they capitalized on it. I mean, even the name NWA, niggas with attitude. They knew when they did that it was gonna cause controversy. Fuck the police. Are you kidding me? They knew. Hey, we put this together and we say this, it's gonna cost this. It made them millions of dollars.
Do you think they
what I
knew
mean?
that, or that were they taught? I mean,
You think their manager was feeding them the info?
Yeah. I think the manager did play it like now. I think he was telling them, you guys really need to play up on this. You guys are from Compton, and think about this. How much did you guys know about Compton before NWA?
Didn't know anything. Not a damn thing about Compton, South Central. Next thing you know, I'm stealing Raiders hats. I only stole one thing in my life, and
Bingo.
Ice-T Power. It was a LA Raiders hat out of a Harmony House.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You know, people don't realize Sanford and Son was based, as far as the show, in Compton. You know what I mean? You didn't think about, you thought it was the hood, but you didn't think of all the stuff that they, cats walking down AKAs and blowing people away. You didn't even think about all that stuff. So again, they were businessmen. They capitalized on, that whole persona, and people bought into it.
Well, I do think artists, like, as a means of escape, like if you grow up in the hood, that's a way to not have to be a part of it, and go down that road. You can write about it.
Fantasize. I mean? It's like you live in a fantasy. You know what I mean? Eminem, he wasn't from the other side of 8 Mile. You know what I mean? He didn't live in the hood. He didn't live in the Brewster Projects or Finkel in Wyoming, or you know what I mean? So again, man, people capitalize on certain things, and the consumer, oh man, he's living his truth. He's this. People buy into it, man.
Yeah.
And not even knowing that, some of these guys probably went to private schools. They had a dad and a mom in the household. They never went to jail. They never got shot. And that's why it's so important as parents that we have to teach our kids, man, this is entertainment, guys, at the end of the day.
See,
No different going to a Matrix movie. It's entertainment, and appreciate it for what it is, but don't let it affect your life so much where you feel like you got to go emulate, Ice Cube, because Ice Cube lives in a mansion in LA somewhere. He's not living in the hood in Compton. He's living in a mansion somewhere. His kids go to private schools.
He's an artist. Like,
you
that's
feel
what
me?
people don't realize.
But what I'm saying is, people that they're so brainwashed, they really think that these guys live these lives. Jeezy is talking about investing his money and doing this and doing that. Jeezy, Snowman, and all that persona. Come on, man. Now, when he started, BMF and blah, blah, blah. But I'm saying at this present day, Jeezy is not even on that level, man.
There's one of them, though. He is. And you Pusha T, that motherfucker, he's still out there grimy as fuck. And I don't know how he's not getting there. I don't know what the fuck this guy's doing, but I know he's talking about real shit. When I hear shit, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that motherfucker's still doing it.
But do you think he lives where he lived? Pusha T obviously has some money now. Do you think he lived where he lives 3-5 years ago?
No.
That's kind of what I'm trying to say. You can still be grimy. Who you are is who you are. But I think even the most grimiest street person, they still want. You don't want your kids to live a certain lifestyle. You want to put them in better situations. Now, you still may go back to the hood, like a Jim Jones and Cameron and all those guys. They still go to projects and roll dice, but they still going back home to a plush $1 million home. Kids go to private schools. That doesn't sell to the public, though. Being ignorant sells.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
That's why a guy like Pac, who was impressionable, he started believing that persona about himself.
Bingo.
He manifested his own destiny. And
Bingo.
in a lot of ways, he fell into that trap, and he had that loyalty to Suge, who he presented that big brother. I'm gonna take care of you, Pac. I get a Rolls, you get a Rolls. Like it's a sad fucking documentary.
You know, I gotta see that, man. I gotta see it.
But that family,
that
family,
I feel sorry, you know,
save people. Like that was their whole thing. Is they were like it's gonna get you. Like it's gonna get you because it's one of the saddest stories in hip hop. Probably, if not the saddest, the Biggie Pac.
You seen the Wu-Tang one?
No.
I saw a couple episodes of the Wu-Tang documentary. It wasn't too bad.
I haven't seen that either. But like I said, the whole thing, man, when they've got to understand at some point the entertainment is crossing over to dangerous zones. When you it's almost like even with Trump, you know what I mean? And the whole rhetoric that he spews. Now, how can I say this?
Just say it.
I think Trump, he used, because I don't think he believes some of the stuff he says.
He doesn't. There's no way.
I think, but just like a rapper, he says the things that sells to
his
consumer.
Yeah.
And not thinking, well, damn, some idiot may believe this and go storm the Capitol and try to, possibly kill somebody. See what I mean? It's the same. It's the same way.
Some of the
what I mean. You say these things. Mike Pence is a traitor, and somebody's gonna pick up on that. Oh, that's a dog whistle for me to go kill him.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Or even with these rappers, they're beefing and this and the East Coast, West Coast. Now you got the people in the streets. Oh, fuck them West Coast guys. I'm gonna go kill, or fuck them East. They better not come to the West Coast. Let me kill Big. It's like,
what the fuck, man?
I didn't really mean it.
Down the Louvre or some shit. You know what I mean? When you take out, that's true. Pac was a great hope for Black culture. You know what I mean? Bridging gaps, and he was a born leader.
Right.
And they killed him.
But he was a contradiction.
He was. Yeah.
When he did the song about screwing Biggie's
wife.
Faith. Yeah, Faith. I mean, do you know what? Hell, who wouldn't get upset about that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm saying now you got the world blasted the song over the radio, and now here it is. I'm big, and I've got this persona, and I got all this money, and I got all this street cred, and now I got to hear that.
Is it?
I mean, that would make the average guy maybe go overboard. You know what I mean?
Well, think about it. You really believe that Biggie shot you, because you got these people in your ear. So now they're putting these artists in there, like pitting them against each other, and they don't give a fuck. I
always thought the beef was exploited to sell a lot of records.
Manufactured, correct?
Yeah, manufactured to sell a ton of records, because both East and West, it didn't matter where you was from. If you was on one side or the other, and you was coming out with an album and you were connected, you was getting paid. And
it's no different than a boxing match.
Right.
When you see a great boxing match and you see these guys, what was the fight not too long ago? Jesus, little short black guy and a Mexican guy.
Mayweather and Pacquiao.
No. This was just recent.
Filipino. What the fuck was that?
That was like recent. 10 years ago, man.
This is recent, like a month ago. I can't think his name, but before the fight, the guy was like, "Man, you better. I'll kill your kids, and I'll do this. Let's put up both our purses. Whoever wins, you get to keep both purses." But what do you think happened? They show a video of the guys when all the fans are gone from the arena. These guys are standing there talking, embracing.
Right.
Man, you can keep your money, man.
Yeah. I'm not going to take your money.
Such an act. And again, people buy into it. And on that level, it's not as dangerous. But when you talk about hip hop, it's very dangerous. And I think what the moral of the story is, he's got Tank. That's his name, Tank. Tank. That was his name, Tank. These guys have to. They got to be more responsible, man. You don't see this in country music. You don't see this in rock and roll. You don't see this in R&B. You don't see this in techno or house or jazz. This only happens in what? In rap.
Hip hop. Yeah, or not hip
Rap.
hop.
And they owe a responsibility to these kids, because at the end of the day, a lot of them are not caught up in it. It's the people out on the streets that are bystanders, innocent bystanders of all this stuff. You know, you look at the kid that got killed down in Memphis not too long ago. Can't think of his name right now.
XXXTentacion or whatever.
No, I'm not talking about him. He was part of you know, Yo Gotti. They kind of get along.
He just done a song with 50 Cent, right? Something Smoke.
Papa Smoke.
Pop Smoke.
You know, I mean, they said this guy was brilliant, man. This guy was a brilliant businessman. I mean, he set his kids up, you know, and the same situation, man. They got, I guarantee you, somebody caught up in the barking and all that stuff, and they killed that boy, man.
Well,
they killed him.
Proof here, right here. You know what I mean? Like he goes to an after hours. Somebody, you know what I mean?
I mean, think about this. Detroit's on Trick. I mean, this guy's the no-fly zone, and you know, a quick story, guys. Before we was going to do this hip hop show, we were, you know, another one of my partners. We call him DA, Daryl Anderson. You actually met him many moons ago, Vince. But you know, we were talking about getting back into the promotions and doing different things. And one of the shows that we wanted to do was Ja Rule and Ashanti, you know. And when I called about Ja Rule, I had an agent tell me, an agency say, man, he's not coming to Detroit. So I'm like, why not? They said because he's afraid he's going to get beat up.
Yeah.
Like, beat up for what? Trick now, man. They told him he better not come back to Detroit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was like 20 years ago.
But to this day, when was the last time you seen Ja Rule in Detroit?
I never.
Yeah, I don't think I've never seen him here.
You seen Ashanti?
Yeah.
But I wanted to do Ashanti and Ja Rule.
Ja was down in Fire Island.
And Ja Rule, and I thought it was a joke. So I got on the phone, called some of my people. They was like, no, it's true. He's not coming here. You know, and Trick may think that stuff is cute. And I would say this to Trick. That's dangerous, bro. Because what happens, Ja Rule's from New York. What happens, some of his guys come up here and say, you know what, you threatened my man. What, you know, people don't understand, man. This is not a arcade video game. This stuff is real life stuff, man. And unfortunately, sometimes, you know, these things they turn into reality. And you know, and that's why, to circle back to the very beginning of this conversation, that's why I value this old school hip hop, man. Because it wasn't about, you know, it was a little flossing, you know, I'm the best MC or my Adidas or, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't about killing nobody. You know, when you talked about breakdancing, that was a way to do what? That was the way to battle without throwing these things here. Yeah. You know, that's how they battled breakdancing. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, you know, you battled, you went home.
Yeah, do you remember Jams, the nightclub? It was a teenage nightclub out here.
Of course I do.
We would go there in our fucking crotch pants and we would have our battles, and the one who won that dance battle got the girl.
Wearing your Puma jogging suits, and you can't. No, I remember all that, and that's what I'm saying. they've taken it to something that it was never meant to be. You know, it was never meant to be where, you know, people die from being a rapper or, you know, it was never meant to be that. And, you know, some smart person said, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna create this persona because I know it'll sell a lot of music, and I talk about killing somebody. And it's just perpetuated until it's almost out of control, man. And I wouldn't want to be a rapper right now. I wouldn't want to be.
Unless you're Kendrick Lamar, you know what I mean? You got these.
But that's more. But Kendrick is more conscious rap. He's almost like a what's the other guy's name? Jay-Z's guy.
Jay-Z.
Oh my God, I can't think his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me. But he's another rapper.
Meek Mill? You talking about Meek?
No, hell no. Hell no.
Meek's on some conscious shit now.
No, hell
no.
Not Meek Mill, man. I ain't talking about Meek.
Well, who else conscious in Jay-Z's camp? I mean,
but he brought him into the fold. Oh my God.
T.I.?
Who?
T.I.'s conscious on it.
No.
T.I.'s dropping jewels, man.
No, but see, T.I.'s another guy that used that whole gangster Southern rap as a gangster. But now T.I. is what? He had a reality show. You know, come on, man.
If you ever listen to T.I.'s, I didn't like T.I. I didn't like his persona, but when I started listening to the shit that wasn't commercial, I was like, he's really dropping some shit. Like he's talking about real shit.
Right.
I thought his first album was good, but other than that, I thought it all went downhill after that.
He's had a few cuts on an album with some singles that I thought were nice, but again, man, he used
Urban Legend,
persona of being a thug to sell music, when really he's he probably sold drugs, but he's all about his family, man. T.I. the family man. You know,
I think that roller skating movie killed him.
Say that again.
The roller skating movie killed him.
Exactly.
It'd be hard to do a roller skating movie.
Exactly. J. Cole. That's who I was thinking. J. Cole.
J. Cole.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, J. Cole.
That's an artist.
That's an artist. Talking about killing nobody.
That's an artist right there.
No,
he
talks about his flaws, honestly. Like I like it. He'll bash himself like anybody else. Put himself out on Front Street for the way he talks to women and shit. Like one whole album was about that. I'm like, man, that's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. That's that real shit.
You can't use the excuse, oh man, if I don't do it this way, I can't be successful. No, you can be successful. If you're really talented and you work at it, you don't have to, go down this road of trying to, I got to shoot this guy or I got to sell this amount of kilos. You ain't got to go down that road, man.
I do. If I want to be a rapper, I got to go. It's getting late for me, and I got to kill someone.
You ain't got to do it, man. You ain't got to do it. You just got to, what you got to do is stay true to yourself. At the end of the day, stay true to yourself and come up with something innovative. J. Cole did it. Like you said, Kendrick Lamar does it.
What do you think about NF?
Who?
Hey, guys. NF?
I'm not familiar with NF.
Right here from Gladwin, Michigan. And he refused to go. He's not doing the features or nothing like that. And the boy can flow. Like he's a Christian rapper. So he can't.
Oh, okay.
But he's a bad motherfucker. Like, and he's just doing it his way. And
right.
It's some real conscious shit for, his mom died of a drug overdose. It's really good. His new album is fire. Like there's nothing bad about it. You dig it.
But he created a niche.
Yeah, for himself.
He created
I'm not
a
doing
niche.
it that way. I'm going to do it this way. And
right, and he may not never become mainstream, so to speak. But I'm sure he's making money. He has his fan base, and again, to use that phrase, he's staying true to himself.
What more can you want in life than that right there? Like to stay true to yourself, to win some battles, and be able to reflect that to your kids and pay your bills with it.
Correct.
There's nothing more in life there's nothing more valuable than that.
Correct.
Light into your universe.
And again, that's the beauty. Again, what I like about the artists on our shows. I remember when these guys were young guys. I remember when they first started, and I promise you, if you were to talk to them now and say, did you have any idea you would be where you are now? And I promise you, half of them was like, man, I was just doing it for the love, bro. I was doing, Dougie Fresh beatboxing and all. Man, I remember him dancing and all that. I guarantee you he never thought he would be considered an icon now. You know what I'm saying?
Rick.
Making the money. Slick Rick. Are you kidding me? He has probably the most recognizable hip hop song of all time. You feel me? So, wearing all the chains but again, he has a huge fan base, man.
Man, I love him. Are you up on Loyal Carner?
I'm not.
That boy's that man. He's a beast. So there's this big pool of British rappers.
Okay.
Ed Sheeran's one of them. Like he's part of this. That's where he got his start. Was out there. But Loyal Carner, you got to listen to him.
But he's probably influenced by Slick Rick then. If he's
for sure. And he raps in iambic pentameter. You know what I mean? Like the language shit. But he's all about he calls himself a half breed. He's black and white, and you never forget. Right. And he gets real deep into the shit. He's a bad motherfucker. Like there's a lot of British rap right now that's that. But they're all influenced by Slick Rick. He was the guy. That was the guy.
But that's what I'm saying. When you do something for the love and for the actual art, how can I say this? You're not thinking 20 years, 40 years down the line of how it's going to impact someone or
you can't even think about how it might impact.
You know what I mean? You don't. Whenever I've done stuff creatively, I don't say when I write something, say, you know what, I'm gonna write this so it'll impact someone 30 years from now. You don't. That's not what you do. You know what I mean? It happens organically.
Yeah, I think about how it makes me feel. Like, what do I feel when I'm at? Because half of them are in the garbage can. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, this feels like shit, so it's going right there. But when I get to the end of something that makes me feel right, I want to. Even if it's not perfect, I want to put it out there. I want to put it out there, so I like to be held accountable to the shit that I think is, because the shit that's the best shit is embarrassing. You know what I mean? It is like the best shit. If you're a man in this business, it's embarrassing as fuck to put it out there. So I get it out quick. I'm like, oh, this shit's let me get it out there.
But you don't think about how is it going to be relevant, 20, 30 years. You're doing it for the love, for the enjoyment, for whatever, something internal. You're not doing it, now I'm not going to say some people now don't do things to make money or say, okay, this is a commercial piece as opposed to a,
passion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know people do that, but you still, when you're doing it for money, I don't think people are thinking about, how is this song going to be dissected 20, 30 years ago? I took a class in high school called Music as Expression. And it was one of the best classes I've ever taken because, it talked about Gil Scott-Heron and, again, you just hear a song, but once you unravel the song and what it meant and a lot of music, it almost narrates a timeline in history. You know what I mean? So it's when people write music today, like a lot of these other artists, they're not writing about relevant things going on right now. You know what I mean?
No, they're imitating what's sold. You know what I mean? They're imitating what's sold. But when somebody like Pac hits with Brenda's Got a Baby,
correct?
You hear something new's happening, and you gravitate toward it. You don't know why, but
because Brenda have a baby girl, a teenage pregnancy. Number one, she wants to get rid of the baby. She don't, they'll probably don't have the money for abortion. Now they're trying to rule out abortions, not knowing that, hey, Brenda maybe got molested by her uncle. You feel me? You know what I mean? But they gonna force this girl to have a baby. This stuff is relevant right now.
Yeah. I mean, and it's
now it's relevant.
Imagine being the label owner or the person who's responsible for that with Pac, and oh fuck, yeah, I guess do it. You know what I mean? And then it hits. You know what I mean? Like
right.
That's
I think his mom owns all the rights to his music now.
She does now.
Who is that?
Pac's mom.
She died.
Well, she's dead now, but And she probably not. I know he had a half brother, and he had a sister now. I think that runs his estate. So
Yeah, she's funny as fuck.
Yeah. But imagine how much money he's going to make now, or how much money he's made.
400 tracks in a 4-year span of time. Like that's fucking, and man, like that's somebody who he couldn't turn it off. Like
Correct.
He had to be in there.
Correct.
Cigarettes down to the butt, putting it out. Think about it. If you thought you were gonna die tomorrow, what the fuck would you do today? You do what Pac did. I would. Like nonstop. I'll sleep when I'm dead, motherfucker. It's coming soon. So let me just keep going.
But do you think, and I heard you say this earlier, do you think he really thought he was going to be dead at a certain point?
I think he manifested. Early. I think so. When I moved out to LA, I had a whole different idea of what that. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be out of the hood, but I didn't see myself living. So I had this James Dean thing. I didn't have any real thing to fight for that I could think of. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to go be famous and die at 25. So I'd always say, live fast, die young, have a good looking corpse. That's what, James Dean's thing. So I didn't give a fuck. Like thinking about it now, what that must have done to my mom. Because when I moved out to LA, she was crying. And I really didn't give a fuck. Like I just wanted to get famous and then fucking die because I didn't see life beyond 25.
But that's that was a lot of us. Like I didn't think I would make 21.
Wow.
And then once I got to 21, I was like, well, if I get to 25 or 27, that I'll consider that lucky. That lucky.
Wow.
And then, even probably right about the age of like 34, I was like, well, I guess, I mean, I don't know the end of my time, but I was like, we've made it this far, and, the lifestyle had changed and a lot of behaviors had changed.
Right.
But, even early on, there was just an internal thing that was like, man, I just don't see myself making it, to 25 or 26. And I thought like that from like the age of 13. And it's just the way that it was.
It wasn't until I had a kid that I could see, and it was for a while. It was Sophie. When she was born, I remember the first time seeing into a future of me as an older person. I couldn't see the next day. There was no tomorrow. It just wasn't there. There was no, I didn't want to die or anything, but there was no, so I lived like that. That's how I lived. I took crazy fucking chances with my life, and I got crazy stories, and it really put me in a place of empowerment. But it was also like borderline suicidal. Right? It was an invincibility complex because I couldn't see tomorrow. So I can see somebody like Pac. Like I had a persona too, so I had my own little celebrity shit in the drug world. You know what I mean? Like, right. And that was hard to carry that shit. Like when I became the man in that space,
right?
That was hard. There's no way I could have sustained that shit for too long. So I didn't give a fuck if I died. Like, fuck, take this shit off my shoulders. You know what I mean? And I didn't have to live in the limelight like he did. Right. Like, so when you put that kind of pressure on somebody who doesn't have a father figure and he's confused as fuck, he gets shot, he gets, you know what I mean, by his own people. And I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I'm going to go out. I believe, I think that that's the only way he could go out.
Well, I think the limelight kills too. I think sometimes the limelight kills. You
doubt.
You just get run into the ground. You know.
So the only reason I told you the Wolf of Wall Street story. So I walked on that shit. So I had worked my entire life. We came up doing movies.
Correct.
And so when the film incentives were here, I had Wolf of Wall Street. It was just DiCaprio and Scorsese attached, and they needed some investment, and I got it. And I had this premonition. My son had just been born, and I had this premonition that, I mean, this is a dream, Scorsese, right? Like, let me show my chops in front of this man. A dream. Right. And me and DiCaprio, we crossed paths a lot out in the early days.
Right.
And I thought it was everything I worked for, and I had a premonition that I was going to kill myself. And I had my son at this point, and I didn't know, I wasn't diagnosed with PTSD yet, but I knew I had to change something, and I bailed on the meeting. Like I bailed, and I didn't start talking about it to last year. I think I told you were one of the first people that I actually brought the name to the surface and said, because I felt like such a bitch. You know what I mean? Like for walking away from it, because really that's who I was supposed to be, but that's not who I was. Like the acting thing, I love it. I still love it. It helped me find myself. Like it helped me to delve into the experience of other people. That's really what I was doing. But I was attached to that identity. And it caused some real problems until I could let that shit go. And luckily I had my son, and I was presented with this opportunity. And I said, it's not worth dying. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think I can handle this fame thing yet. I knew enough to know that I'm going to, like Pac, if I go in on something, I'm going all the fuck in, and wherever that takes me, it doesn't include this little man. You know what I mean? And so I fucking bailed. I bailed on that meeting.
Wow. So you were what I used to say, see, not get into the whole acting thing, but I was always the type of guy, before I performed, like it was a play, I would sleep. Right before I go on stage, it's like literally, you're on, boom, go out there and do it. Mm-hmm. And I know some people, some of my colleagues, they were actors that tried to be actors.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I never was that guy. I was always, I did it, but then after I did it, I was just Derek. I didn't try to live in the moment of being an actor all the time. And I think I know what you're talking about. You got caught up. You got caught up in that whole. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Life Goes On was I didn't know this, but a therapist told me after Life Goes On, she's like, "Do you know what you wrote?" This is 10 years after. I'm like, a movie about addiction. You know what I mean? I was like, she's like, that's a death note to your ego. Because I never knew why I kept the name Vince. I never did that before. I was like, no, I want to keep this guy's name Vince. I was killing my ego. Cool Vince, that persona.
There you go.
I had to kill that guy to get right. And it's crazy how the art, if you let the art come out, it'll do
it. Bingo. It can consume you.
Thing.
You can see, you've heard where they say where you are more of a method actor, and you get so enthralled in it where they say sometimes some people can't come back to that reality. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. I never allowed myself to get so whatever that it would just overcome me, and I couldn't. You know what I mean? So
you became the role.
Did you read that?
Yes. You got to be the role, the whole, like De Niro, he's in character the whole time, and I mean, that that's why he's one of the greats. I don't know, but
do you remember that passage in On Acting, that Freud passage?
Remind me.
So it scared the fuck out of me the first time I heard it, because I had this goal. I want to be rich and famous within a year. I want to make some movies. Fucking kill me. You know what I mean? Like I'm going out in a ball of flames. And I fell in love with the craft, and I didn't know it. I remember almost getting in a fight with this person because they called me an artist. Oh, you're one of those true artists. Don't call me a fucking artist. I didn't know what that meant. You know what I mean? I thought that was you're a bitch. You know what I mean? That's how I took it. And,
you took it as an insult.
Yeah, that was someone in the theater class complimenting me on the performance. I said, I'm not a fucking artist. Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. But I didn't. I had a chip on my shoulder. And that passage by Freud that says artists, they know the way from fantasy or reality to fantasy, and they also know the way back, but they don't have very far to go before they can become neurotic.
No doubt. No doubt.
It's very susceptible to not coming back.
I believe that.
I mean, like if you get stuck in that space, Pac, and you're impressionable, you might not come back from that shit. Heath Ledger, you know what I mean? Like, art imitates life. Life imitates art. You know what I mean? It's when you're true to yourself, well, it's hard not to display that shit and then also not go out like it,
But even, and I know we're getting off a little bit, but Michael Jackson and Prince, he has to be Prince every day.
Every fucking day.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, when can you take the girl clothes off, Prince, and just be Roger? You know what I mean? When can you just be Roger, dude? In your
story where they beat him in basketball and they had like black shirts.
He got heels on playing hoops.
Your skins.
That's what I mean. even like you talk about Charlie Murphy, but even in that situation, he had to be Prince, and it's sad. It's sad. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's sad, man. It's sad that people, because part of it is, well, if I'm not Prince, if I'm not pop, if I'm not big all the time, I'm going to lose my fans. You know what I'm saying? And that's sad, man, that you got to live. I've always been a control freak of me. I've never had a drink in my life. I've never did it because I've never wanted to lose control. That was always me. And, so I'm a control freak of myself. I've always been a man of, how can I say this? I've always walked the way I wanted to walk. You know what I mean? Now I have friends, they've done all type of shit. You know what I mean? But I was always that guy, hey, you guys go ahead. You know what I mean? I'm doing me. And I thank God for that. I thank God for that. He put that in my spirit, man, because if he didn't, there's no telling where I would be. Like you said, with having the thoughts you had. Yeah. Hey, I could have had those thoughts too. But I thank God that, I just was always my own guy, all man. You know what I
mean? And here's the power of the psyche, man, because I wanted to kill these motherfuckers who infringed on me. Like at that thought, I've been in real gangster shit, like fucking dealing with cartels and had abilities to enact on that kind of. And this is the first time I actually thought it because it was a real infringement. They stole the shit. Wow. And I had to stop myself. I'm talking to him. I'm talking to my guy, Dominic. I'm like, man, I can't get these thoughts. How do I get this hate out of my heart? Like I know this ain't right. But really, I'm stuck in my fucking, I'm down here in fight or flight. I can't even get to my logic, but I can't even convince myself of that. So I got to rely on people around me to give me some, hey, don't think like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you don't have that and you're caught up in that fucking whirlwind and you're surrounded by yes men, you ain't going to get that. You're lucky if you get that, but then you don't know who to trust. Like, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. And I think the best decision I ever made in my life was walking away from that movie. Like, I think I would have killed myself. I think I would have dipped into that persona, and I don't think I would have came back. I wasn't there yet. Like I had to get diagnosed with PTSD. I had to recognize that there was something off, and then I had to realize that this love that I felt from this little dude, because I didn't know what that was, unconditional love. That's what I was feeling. I was scared shitless. If I didn't fucking I would have died not knowing that shit. You know what I mean? Like there's people that die a lot not knowing what it is to get back to your spirit.
No doubt.
And that's the sad thing is like when you got somebody like Pac who knew his spirit but knew he couldn't have it, like it wasn't his to have. That's a hard life. That's a hard fucking path to walk. You know what I mean? But it's also a fucking like Christ. Even you walk it anyway. I just whatever. You know what I mean? I have to say this shit, and that's to me. Those are my heroes. You know what I mean? People like Martin Luther King, Christ. It was Jesus, because Christ wasn't even his last name. I want to do Jesus of Tijuana. I'll tell you about this story. It's fucking hilarious. It's good.
But that's why it's important, Vince, to have good people around you, man. I work with a lot of athletes, younger athletes, and I always tell them, man, find you a no man. Find you a no man. A lot of people got yes men. Yeah. But it's important to have a no man in your life. And now, obviously, that could be a woman, or a man or a good friend. You know what I mean? Because you got to believe, like Tupac and all this. Can you imagine the guys around him that's fueling that rage and that bullshit? Tell them, oh, man, you Tupac, man. You big, man. They're fueling this ignorance. Yeah. And I thank God that I had people around me, man, that cared enough about me to say, hey, D, nah, man, you don't need to go this route, bro. You know what I mean?
Capacity. Which is important because I mean, in the hood, I grew up, until third, fourth grade. I'm walking by fucking burnt down. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the same shit. And I had one parent that had hope though. You know what I mean? The other parent, there was no hope. So if you're in a house where there's no hope,
Right.
what you see, so it's even hard. There's consequences for your actions. You can't
No
do
doubt.
people but like it's hard to really fault a person who doesn't know any better. And they say, well, you're 25, you should, motherfucker, you don't know. You didn't walk in their shoes. You have no idea what it is to be that person.
No.
You know what I mean? Like person cutting a head off in Iraq. I know we're getting way off, but like I think about what it would be like to be in that war-torn country.
Can you imagine?
Probably dead. All you
Ukraine.
know is conflict, and your only hope of ever getting anything is to die and get 72 virgins. Like, think about the pain and suffering that goes into a mind like that believes it. And you know what I mean? Like
but even to take it further, but then the people that survive that stuff, think about, and I know we're going way over, but people in Ukraine, man, is getting bombed every day. No water, no electricity. You know, okay, and then all right. So now, just say hypothetically, the war ends tomorrow. So now what? You know, for them, it's going to be still a war every day. Are you kidding me? To live through that?
Generational enemies. That's not over just because it's stopped. Like there's never been a war won in human history. We're still fighting the same war that started. Like you build enemies. Okay, we'll sit back for now, but motherfucker, when we get that bomb, it's your ass. You know what I mean?
And the kids, the kids that, you know, that's what they say. You will never be able to beat a terrorist. You'll never defeat them, because when you go kill them, they got kids. What happens? It just starts all over again. You killed my father. Hey, you created another terrorist right now.
Right.
Martin Luther King, you know, I mean, dark, all it's going to do is create dark. This is simple math. You know what I mean? Dark plus dark don't equal light in any equation whatsoever. You know what I mean? That's why we got this movement. You know, that we got to talk about the movement and this technology we have, that it's Martin Luther King's dream if we can make it happen, because you couldn't be judged by anything but the content of your character from your time of birth. Correct. And AI is attached to you. You tell the story. Right now, you know, you got fucking the Facebooks and if they push this technology first, the self-sovereign identity, it's going to be nihilism. You know what I mean? Because it's going to. We're at the Tesla Edison crossroads in human history right now, where it's going to be AI. AI is not going anywhere. So AI for profit or AI for fucking nurture or nihilism is what I call it.
Hey, I downloaded that chat, whatever you call it, and I mean, dude, it just, we're already lazy enough as Americans, you know what I mean? Yeah. But now, you know, I want to send an email now. I put in a few cute things and it just, it's like you said, man, in a minute, we're going to be so self-reliant on everything. It's not going to be a need to even learn certain things anymore. You know what I mean? It's like technology. Somebody was just talking about it on CNN. They were just saying how in a minute, man, they've got new AI that is starting to be independent. It's starting to, I forgot how they said it, but it's almost turning human damn near. It has its own way of thinking of some shit
they're already selling that shit. Because here's the thing, AI only does what we program it to do. Like, so that's all it does. So if we feed it nurture, it's going to get more nurturing. It's going to program that faster.
It's getting smarter.
Bullshit. So of course the media wants you to think this is, it's gathered its own independence. You're too late. You know what I mean? Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, let us have a stab at it. You guys have been fucking this shit up for decades. Let us have a stab at. That's the movement, man.
It's like we living in a version of iRobot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to go even to, like we said, to the hip hop and music. Now they're taking the dead people, you know, big and recreating or new music. And so what is that doing to the music industry? You know what I mean? Now you're going to start taking money out of producers' pockets, out of artists' pockets. It's just take in a minute. I mean, whatever kind of job where you got to use your brain, it won't be a need for people anymore unless it's something to do with your hands. In a minute, man, it's going to affect everything.
Well, compassion, like that's something AI will never be able to do properly.
That's true.
It'll never be able to do that, and there's always going to be a need for it as long as there's humans, because
True.
that's our binding force. It really
That's
is.
true.
It's the fifth force of the universe that only monks talk about. Like it's obvious that it's there, because as bad as it may get, we keep growing. You know what I mean?
True.
Like if I'm this age now and I get to complain about my upbringing, well, somebody brought me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Got me
Right.
through the diapers, and they still did that shit, even though they didn't know any better.
Right.
So,
Right.
compassion is a real fucking thing, and that's what artists show. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to show it towards themselves. Like, that's been my biggest problem, is it's hard for me to be compassionate.
AI
for
don't
shit I
got
didn't know.
AI don't got no soul.
No, it doesn't.
You know, so
and there's a shut off. You know what I mean? Like, it's only as good as.
But is it important? And again, we're going off subject, but like we talked about music now compared to back in the day, where, for lack of a better word, is there a lot of talent right now? So is it really about passion? Is it really about making things that's from the heart, or is it more about commercialism, making money? See, that's how I look at AI now. It's like, just make something, people are gonna love it because it's gonna be a nice beat or some nice lyrics.
What's the last concert you went to?
Soul.
What's the last concert you went to?
Last concert I've been to. Jesus Christ. You guys probably gonna be embarrassed when I say, oh no. Morris Day and the Time at Shane Park.
Oh shit.
All right, what was that, last summer?
A couple summers ago.
All right. So I saw all the Marley Brothers about a month ago over at Red Rocks up in Colorado. You can't roll out a bunch of AI to recreate the energy and the spiritual experience that was at that show.
Pac's hologram couldn't even do Pac right. You know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so, like, as long as humans are connected to humans, and as long as the human vibration and the frequency is what we connect with, fuck AI. You can, come up with programs and shit, and like at some point humans will just be like, this AI isn't benefiting us. It's making you dumber. It's gonna make humans.
You're talking about live performances, though.
Oh yeah.
AI can make the music, then you can go perform it live. The music that it made.
Yeah, but it just, that's like a halfway Milli Vanilli type shit,
Exactly. But how much music did Milli Vanilli? How much music did they make, and how much money did they make on that false pretense?
I don't know if they really made any, but
girl, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, okay, they made money though. They won Grammys.
And they didn't write the songs. They didn't write no songs.
Correct.
As soon as they did that chest bump, I'm like, these motherfuckers are faking. There ain't that chest bump in the video. I'm like, these motherfuckers are faking something.
Oh, but they made my point being is they made a lot of money. You know what I mean?
It's all fun and games until the cassette tape breaks.
No doubt. No doubt.
But there's like your show, those cassette tapes ain't broken, and there's a compliment that young cats need to know, like, to have that kind of longevity in a game like that. That's well, it is rare because it's never happened except for the people that are coming on stage right now. But like to be that performance shit, that's real. You know what I mean? To be able to do that for this many years professionally, like that's real shit. That's not just going out and standing by the garbage can. That's its own thing. That's its origin. But like, to put that performance on and have enough confidence, like Rakim, to fucking go do whatever the fuck he wants and say, yeah, now I'm gonna come back and you're gonna pay to see me because I'm gonna do my shit, and then I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because that's not who I am. It's what I do, and it's just part of me. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's I'm pumped for the show. And
hey man, I'm grateful you allowed me the platform to talk about it. And you know how we are. You give me an hour, we gonna do 3. That's just how we'll
right.
Well, we got Frequency Fest coming up, and I got to talk to you about that because all these cats belong in Frequency Fest. So it's gonna have speakers, it's gonna have comedians that are on that conscious shit.
Sure.
And it's gonna hopefully by then the movement's taken off, and it's gonna be, everyone will have self-sovereign identity, and we're gonna use it hopefully to get one of these big social media conglomerates to adopt our technology.
That somebody like a KRS-One, I think would be real good for that.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's what I was
KRS-One
thinking.
would be real good for that. So
he's on that.
You come to the show, man. Bring you back. You can kick it with him, because I'm sure you and him will definitely have a lot in common.
Well, if he needs that ride, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
All luxed out.
Yeah, I saw him do a talk on the Fifth Dimension, and I was just beside myself. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard it put any better than the way he broke it down.
He's a deep dude, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's a deep dude. And I've never met him. So even for myself, I'm looking forward to, talking to him, maybe the night before or something like that. And that way, it's no crowd, it's nothing. We can just all just kind of kick it and chop it up. So that's going to be, for me, I think I'm going to get more out of that than anything, to be honest with you. Be able to talk to those guys and get inside their heads a little bit, where they're just crisp. They're Doug. You know what I mean? They're not the personas. They're real people at that time.
Right.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
See, KRS-One, I think he's just that. Like, he's one of those people that I think he's making dinner and he's talking about the fifth dimension, and his wife's like, I'm just hungry. What are you fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy those kind of people, because I don't fit in all the time. They're like, we don't need to talk about that right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
right.
I think if it's not deep, it doesn't have to be deep all the time. But if you're not contemplating that type of shit, then what else are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, it's not all the time, but fucking some of the time, maybe. You know what I mean? I think that's where we went out over AI, because AI can't do that. It can only do what we do, and then compute that mathematically to do something faster, better.
No doubt. But I think we do have to take, I don't know what the limitations are, but I do believe we do need to put some controls in place. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I don't want to, have a machine dictating to me at some point. So I think we do need to have. I know that there's Senate now starting to talk about it, and because AI, just the fact that I could take your voice based on this conversation we're having now, and make you say what I want you to say. That's crazy. Scary.
That's crazy. The shit you can cause, like the
you could create a war with that. You could create a war. I could break up marriages with that. I could kidnap your kids with that. Man. So a lot of things are created for the good, but the evil people, they make it out for the bad, so to speak. So,
well, and who funds the technology, right? Like all the big technology, all the big science, funded by the military.
Exactly.
Fucking scary. So, this is where the people got to come to. We got to do something. Like, we got an opportunity to do something. So, I believe that if we don't do it now, it's gonna get bloody. You know,
that's my point.
Once they got the guns turned on us, and we're in that bread line. That's where I don't want to be in 15 years on that bread line.
There you go.
People think it can't happen, motherfucker. You see it happening.
It'll be a lot quicker than 15 years.
You ain't lying.
I think is what
you ain't lying. But again, Vince, man, I appreciate the opportunity, man. We'll talk more, obviously, about the panel.
For your tickets, I'm gonna put it in here.
Yeah.
What
you need?
This banner, and then when we share it, it'll be on here.
Okay.
So what's the link you use?
Right now, because I don't know the link by heart, but you can simply just put in what we're doing now, Vince. We have it's Detroit Hip Hop 50. So if people put in Detroit Hip Hop 50, generally our information will come up. If they go to Ticketmaster.com and put in hip hop, Detroit Hip Hop 50, our show will come up. And if they've got any questions, they can call me directly at 248-229-4592. And I'll get right back with them. They can call the Fox. They can purchase tickets online or at the box office. And again, that's on July 15th at the Fox Theater. And then again, we're going to have that panel discussion at the Charles H. Wright Theater, Detroit, on June 15th. and I'll be sending you more information on that. And we look forward to having both of you guys come down and partake in that. That's going to be streamed live. People can ask questions online, in person, of the panel, and we're gonna have a good time, man. We're gonna have a good time.
Whoever did your marketing for this, it does pop up right away. We just search that shit.
Yeah,
it comes. Yeah, so there. I mean, kudos to whoever put that together.
Yeah, and so it's about hip hop. It's about 50 years, man, and we got the New York portion of the show, but we got the Detroit portion of the show that we're really going to celebrate, and recognize people that have contributed to the Detroit.
There ain't enough of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There ain't enough of that in Detroit.
Yeah.
If everybody leaves and goes and gets famous, and then you come back here and you got your own little whatever bubble, and there ain't enough.
It's a lot of talent here, but I still believe part of being successful is knowing where things started and giving homage to people that came before you, and understanding that they laid the groundwork for you, for the Eminems, for the Royce the 5'9s, for all these different people that people listen to. I know Rakim. I mean, Eminem was a fan of Rakim. I know Eminem was a fan of LL Cool J. So, it'd be good if you're a true hip hop fan. Hey, it'd be good to come to that show. And I don't know when the next time in Detroit where you'll see artists of that magnitude from that era all on one stage at one time. So I know Rock the Bells. I know LL is coming, and that was a big controversy because you guys probably don't know, but they announced the show and they had Rakim as part of the show, and that never was the case. So what they did was they got a whole Rock the Bells tour. They put all these names on the flyers, and people are thinking, oh shit, Rakim, Queen Latifah, all these guys are going to be here. No. There's only certain people that was going to be in Detroit. That's LL, that's the Roots, and that's Jazzy Jeff. And that's it. That's the Detroit show for LL Cool J and LL Cool J. And it caused a lot of confusion for our show, quite honestly, guys, because people were thinking that Rakim was going to be on that Detroit show for the Rock the Bells tour. And then they got it confused with our show. So we actually I had to threaten to sue the radio station. I had to get with Live Nation. And I said, look, guys, you guys are hurting the Detroit show, our Detroit show, by putting Rakim on putting out there that he was going to be on the show, and he never was. So eventually they took him off. Now they letting you know who's going to be on the Detroit show as far as the Rock the Bells. And but sometimes the damage is already done. You know what I mean? So, but we're going to have a great show anyway. And we're just going to have a good time, man. I invite everybody out. And thanks again, Vince, for allowing me to talk about it and then talk about everything else. I know we got a little off track, but it's all relative, when it comes down to entertainment and the perception of these entertainers and in the industry stuff. So we can talk more, man.
Phenomenon. You know what I mean? Like there's so much wrapped up in that. We can't even.
It's not enough time to even go into it all at one time. But hey, man, I would love to come back. And like I said, you guys definitely come down to the Charles H. Wright, man. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be a great conversation, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll be there, and I'm serious about the drive thing. Like if they.
Okay.
We'll pick them up. All
right, I got you.
Yeah. I got you. Sounds like a brilliant fucking
idea. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Right. Pleasure meeting you.
Derek,
hey, likewise,
cool.
man.
Your phone number?
Yep, 248-229.
I'm gonna put it up here with this link, and then we're gonna let it fly.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for
Salute.
putting this together. This
Yep,
is
yep. Have a great night.
yeah,
Yes, you
this is
too.
badass.
Much love, man.
Yep. See how to. We don't even know. Oh no, we're gonna fuck around a little bit. We're gonna put your banner up here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on Facebook and check you guys out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell your family we're sorry for keeping you.
Hey, man. Hey, we trying to eat too. So, you helping us, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope you do.
All right.
All right,
have
guys.
some nice- Let's see. So, where we at here? Detroit Hip Hop. Did you have it?
So no, it's here.
Yeah, I saw this. You showed me the KRS-One thing, which had nothing to do with this. Then the next day, I saw this advertisement. I'm like, "Oh shit, is that here?" And then Derek reached out to me the next day. He's like, "Hey man, I need you to cross promote."
So somewhere along the line, Derek Dunham.
Well, that's right. That's it right there, huh? He just shared it on his page. As you said,
Yeah,
let's just share the whole thing, and we'll put his phone number. You don't get
here. Let's go back. Where was that StreamYard shit?
you don't get show promoters and producers offering up their fucking personal phone number off. Yeah, I mean that's
That banner, and then what you want to do?
Oh, you were able to put that whole thing in there?
Yeah,
That's sweet.
and then here, space that shit out and put his phone number. I mean, he said, "I know you don't have Derek Denham's phone number." Oh, Facebook.
I was on the phone with
Any of
State-
you upcoming artists, man, grab that shit now.
I was on the fucking with State Farm today, and a client, and, they asked for my number for the new business. I said it's 1-900 mix a lot. If you want to kick them nasty thoughts, baby got back. I wish I could get that fucking phone number 1-900 mix a lot. If that was that'd be a badass phone number.
Why don't you see if it's still? What happens if it was 1-800?
Oh, you don't think I looked? I looked. Man. That shit ain't available.
Come on, do
Somebody's
that.
Taking them nasty thoughts. Let's see. Yeah, man.
Man, that's great, dude. He's gonna get meeting KRS-One.
I want to drive him out here. Like I'm dead fucking serious. Like that'd be fucking dope. Cultures, you know what I mean? Merging cultures like that, and I mean consciousness is similar. You know what I mean? Like like Ram Dass says, we're all just walking each other home. And,
Yeah. Put that phone number up there.
I'm doing. I gotta find
Create that banner.
David Banner. There it is. Yeah, we thought. I guess when you say address, it can be the web address or the link address. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it really don't matter. You know what I mean? I like it in person. There's some people who prefer in person all the time, and I mean, I think we have the same conversation in person or out of person. Fucking
Man, I honestly, if you get KRS-One for the podcast, that's semi cool. If we get him for the Frequency Fest, that's what I want.
he's got. I mean, that shit's built for him.
And I think he would have others that would be.
Fucking hands down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he would
hands
have a
down.
network ready to like unload on Frequency Fest
I mean,
because that's what's coming to Detroit.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, and
time to raise the consciousness up in this motherfucker.
and we're merging all the we got the modern artists, we got and we got the and the consciousness is it's the same shit. We're trying to get to the same place and have been for years, and we got an opportunity at this festival to merge them and see that we're pretty fucking similar. You know,
All right,
despite our surface differences, we're pretty fucking similar in what we want. We want our kids to have good lives. We don't want to be alienated. We want our thoughts to matter. We want to, some of us want to be. I don't know. I don't fucking know. All right. There's all kinds of shit people want to be. Huh?
Are you gonna add the number?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to his shit. 229. I'm just mix a lot. Did that in the ayahuasca ceremony once. I was reading from one of those little slips that you put in the bowl, and I said, and I started doing a verse from Baby Got Back. I was like, wait, what? Philosopher Mix-a-Lot? Or my eyes are going bad.
Let me
dude.
see that shit.
4592. I got it. You can see shit a mile away. Put it right by my face, and I can't
Alright.
fucking see it anymore.
I'll click that bitch.
We'll see how this shit looks. So scroll across the bottom, click that square right there.
What?
Down at the bottom, scroll across.
Scroll across.
Yeah. You might have to open it back up in that one. There you go.
This one?
Yeah, show. Boom. Look at that motherfucker.
All right.
All right. Well,
I wonder if it's gonna run the whole time, or is it just gonna roll at the end?
I think we can probably, yeah, because you can put them on pre-recorded videos. I wonder who's watching us right now still. We're sitting here, who's watching us fucking.
I don't know. I think we're gonna have to like share this like a motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to share too much before he came on.
No, I meant all over our pages and stuff,
Yeah.
just because we had to restart the Facebook broadcast.
Oh, look, yeah. There's okay, cool. His
So-
partner chimed in, so let's show this. We're just learning this technology, but I mean, this is great. When you can promote shit you like for other people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's Cuzzo always chiming in. We got that duck from StreamYard. I don't know what the fuck he's saying, but he's always here. I like him. He don't bother me. He's A-okay in my book. I'll keep him away from the French people. Example, the banner. We're good there. We got that ticker running. Brand. Private chat. We out. Yeah, I'd like to have more conversations on how that hip hop influence, because I know for me it was a big part of my life. You know, it was so was rock, so was but the biggest impact was hip hop. The life altering things came about when yeah, it was by far. You know, Vanilla Ice, he was a game changer for me. He wasn't.
Vanilla.
You know, but hey.
You know what really,
song, though.
dude? You know what happened was like I don't know what radio station. I think it was 96.3, where it was the last day of summer vacation. We all had to go to school the next day. I don't know if it was like Labor Day weekend or whatever, but they played that fucking song for like 30 hours straight, just over and over and over again. Fuck all that bullshit.
And then he got it stolen from Suge.
Yeah, it's all good. You ready to end this?
Yeah.
I gotta get the fuck up out of
It's
here.
so hard to say goodbye to yesterday, but I'm out. Sean's out. We'll be back on Tuesday. I gotta reach out to Monk. Monk, I'm reaching out to you. For that we got that just it's there. I'm tired as fuck.
All right.
Peace out.
Have a good one.